The Ice Age was not just cold, it was a death trap. Temperatures fell so low that even the strongest animals froze where they stood. And yet, every night, humans closed their eyes and slept. Not once, not twice, but for thousands of nights. So how? How did a family with no heaters, no blankets, and no houses survive nights that could kill within hours? What hidden tricks kept their children alive through storms that never seemed to end? And what can their struggle teach us about the resilience that defines us even today? Here's my question for you. If you had to spend just one night in the Ice Age, what is the one thing you'd carry to stay alive? Tell me in the comments. I'll be reading them. And your answer may inspire our next mystery. Stay until the end, because the final secret of how they truly survived will leave you stunned. The Ice Age was merciless. Glaciers stretched across continents. Nights plunged to temperatures so cold the air itself could kill. For humans, sleep was not rest. It was a gamble. The ground beneath them stole heat like a thief. The wind slashed through caves like a blade, and predators circled in the dark, waiting for weakness. One wrong choice. One careless night, and morning would never come. Every evening, families faced the same haunting question. How do we make it to sunrise? Survival meant more than food and shelter. It meant learning to turn the hostile world into protection. Most of us imagine fire as the first answer, but that wasn't where the story began. Long before fire became reliable, humans turned to something else, something primal, something every hunter carried home. Long before cloth or wool, humans discovered the shield of fur. Animal skins were not trophies of the hunt. They were tickets to survival. Wrapped tightly, hides trapped heat against the body. They were crude. They were heavy, but they worked. Still, even with thick hides wrapped around them, danger remained, because the ground was colder than the air itself. Lying on frozen soil drained warmth like poison. Imagine it. You're wrapped in fur, but the earth beneath you feels like ice eating into your bones. Humans needed a barrier, something between themselves and the deadly ground. And what they created would become one of the first great innovations in human comfort. Archaeologists have found traces of bedding more than 200,000 years old. Not random piles of leaves, but carefully layered beds. Grass, moss, and leaves were stacked to lift the body above the frozen floor. Furs and hides went on top, sealing in warmth. And beneath it all, ash from old fires was scattered. The ash did more than insulate. It repelled insects. It kept the bedding clean. Picture the scene. A family huddled on a bed of grass, hides wrapped around their bodies, a fire glowing faintly in the corner of a cave. The storm howls outside, but inside, for a few fragile hours, there is warmth. Yet even fire was dangerous. Too much smoke could suffocate them. Too little flame, and the cold crept back in. So let me ask you, would you risk keeping the fire alive while you slept, or trust the darkness and hope to survive until dawn? Caves were nature's refuge. Stone walls shielded families from wind and predators. But caves were not everywhere, so humans built their own. They dug pit houses, half buried in the earth, using soil as insulation. In other places, mammoth bones were stacked into frames, hides draped across them like tents. To us, they look eerie, even haunting, but to them, they were life-saving. Inside, a fire burned at the center. Families circled close, body against body, hide against hide, warmth layered upon warmth. In the Ice Age, sleeping alone was almost certain death. Sleeping together meant survival. But even with hides, fire, and shelter, there was something else shaping humanity. Something not built with hands, but carried within their very bodies. Over time, the Ice Age left its mark on human biology. In colder regions, bodies became stockier, better at holding heat. Metabolism shifted, pulling energy from meat and fat. Even the way fat was stored became a shield. But the greatest adaptation was not physical, it was social. Survival demanded trust. It demanded that families slept close, that fire was guarded like treasure, that someone always stayed awake. Sleep in the Ice Age was light, restless, interrupted, because someone had to watch the flames. Someone had to listen for danger. Someone had to give up their rest so others could keep theirs. This was not comfort. This was survival. And it shaped who we became. The Ice Age tested human strength, but it also defined human identity. Every night by the fire, people weren't only protecting themselves, they were creating culture. Stories were told, lessons were passed down. Children grew up not only learning how to survive, but learning what it meant to belong. Picture a child, wrapped in hides, eyes wide as a parent tells a story by firelight. Outside, the wind screams. Inside, a new kind of humanity is being born. The Ice Age gave us scars, yes, but it also gave us resilience. It gave us the instinct to fight against impossible odds and to trust one another in the dark. But one final practice decided everything. One ritual that drew the line between survival and extinction. The Ice Age did not spare anyone. Survival wasn't about a single trick. It was about combining them all. Hides, grass beds, fire, ash, shelters, and unity. But the final secret was vigilance. Humans did not sleep as we do today. They slept in shifts, lightly, watchfully. Someone always stayed awake to feed the fire, to keep predators away, to guard the night. This sacrifice, this constant vigilance kept families alive. Every dawn was not a gift. It was a victory. And those victories carried humanity forward, from the Ice Age into history. So tonight, when you slip under a blanket, remember those who once slept on grass beds, wrapped in hides, praying their fire would last until dawn. The Ice Age was not just a struggle against the cold. It was the crucible where human resilience was born. What other mysteries of ancient life should we uncover next? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, because our next story explores how some Ice Age creatures vanished forever, while others walked beside us into the future.